These two fine-looking sisters in our community have examined the report issued by Jessica Hyde. You may recall Jessica Hyde from Trial 1 and Trial 2, but more importantly, we just got our hands on her report, which contains data that is so critical to this case. I cannot believe we've never seen it before. Let's keep watching.
Her report includes John Okeefe's phone analysis as well. And so I was looking at that and I'm like, this is interesting. I just am curious to see. There's something in here that I remember something coming up at trial that I will mention, but I don't ever remember this specific thing coming up at trial. And it caught my eye. And then there's two places it's referenced that I want to show you. Jessica Hyde is the woman. She's Orthodox. She has a head covering and she couldn't testify on Friday. So I noticed this note. The phone recorded playing Fix You by the band Coldplay.
How wild is this? The very last song that John Okeefe heard on this earth was Fix You by Coldplay, a song I never heard of, but as we could see here, it played while he was driving the 34 Fairview and after he got out of the vehicle, so it's very critical to this case. Let's keep watching.
This is the first chart that shows all the times that Coldplay was playing and not playing. Coldplay starts playing here as 14:36. We know there's some incoming calls from John Okeefe and incoming messages that are coming in at this time while they are driving.
We see John exiting the Waterfall Bar at 12:11 a.m. And a few minutes later, we see Karen's SUV on video crossing past the Canton Library. And it was during this time that John utilized Apple Music to put on this particular song as they were driving. But he would receive calls from Jen and texts from Jen, and that would interrupt the song playing. As we're going to see, it's going to be very critical to solving this case. Let's keep watching.
So here's one 12:14:31, and then here's one 12:14:36. Apple Music built-in receiver, Fix You by Coldplay. Do you see here how it says built-in receiver and here how it says speaker? The built-in receiver can mean two things. It could mean that your phone is accidentally rerouting your music play to your ear hole instead of to the speaker in the phone. Other time it clocks as built-in receiver is when it's connected to a Bluetooth device.
This is a great find because it's going to indicate if John's phone's connecting to Karen's Bluetooth in her car.
Whether or not it's playing through that Bluetooth device or ready to play through that, it might say built-in receiver then. So to me, that is more likely than your phone all of a sudden being wacky and playing a song through the ear hole, okay? 12:14:36, it appears as though Apple Music is playing Fix You by Coldplay from John Okeefe's phone it could be to the Bluetooth speaker in the car.
When you try your best, but you don't succeed.
The lyrics to this song was so applicable to what was going on. It's generally about a relationship that has issues and the other person is trying to fix the other person who can't be fixed. And we know early in that day, John and Karen were both fighting over their relationship, Karen almost pulling away from it. Meanwhile, she was texting with Brian, Patrick Higgins, old Higgy Bear, who was giving her all that emotional support she wasn't getting from John.
When you get what you want,
I will give you what you want,
but not what you need. Stuck in reverse.
What a line, stuck in reverse, especially all the false allegations that Karen Reed reversed her SUV and crashed into John Okeefe on that fateful morning.
Incoming call, same time, 12:14:36. Right after that incoming call, Fix You by Coldplay plays for 2 seconds.
When you lose something you can't replace.
Another great line, and unfortunately applies to John. The ultimate thing that you lose, that you can't replace, obviously is your life.
It does not say whether it was built-in receiver or speaker. See that? And here it says Apple Music speaker Fix You by Coldplay. And then it says it played for 3 minutes and 58 seconds, okay?
When you love someone but it goes to waste.
One version of the song is almost 5 minutes long.
Right. There's a couple of things that could have been happening here. She doesn't show it going back to built-in receiver again. So what could have happened here was the incoming phone call triggered the music replaying or it replayed on purpose. Maybe speak out of the speaker. But if it's out of the speaker, it might be like his phone is silent, but the music is continuing to play. Coldplay plays for 3:58. Looks like that's the end of Coldplay.
And ignite your bones.
Another great line that's so applicable to this case. Had John Okeefe suffered any broken bones on his body, Karen Reed may be sitting in prison falsely because people would have assumed that her car came into contact with John O'Keefe's body. But because none of his bones were broken, we are certain that there was no contact with her vehicle.
And I will try to fix you.
Another great line from this song, and it's so applicable to the relationship that was going on at this particular time.
Obviously, they wanted the other person to change so much. And that song is about fixing somebody else.
That song is about trying to change somebody who's not fixable. This is the part that struck me as interesting. Obviously, people in the house don't know they're here yet. You come in here.
Yes, I said, are you coming here? Followed by 3 question marks.
From Brian Higgins, you come in here. This is when they have arrived at the house, 12/21/10. I have always believed whatever happened to him happened almost immediately after he arrived.
The girls got the arrival time incorrect, and a lot of people did initially, including myself. We have conclusively established, thanks to all the documents and video, that John O'Keefe's car did not arrive at 34 Fairview until 12:24 and at least 36 seconds. So he was not there climbing 3 flights of stairs or taking all those steps that didn't register any distance. That occurred as they were traveling to 34 Fairview.
Because I think it may have happened in the garage, I don't necessarily think that people inside the house knew at 12:22 that something had happened in the garage. I think they were either notified or something, or one of the men came in and said something and whatever happened. But I think it happened right away. We have 2027 of Jen McCabe saying, here, I believe at this point, Jen McCabe had not yet been asked to do anything. I do know that Jen McCabe called him again at 12:29:36, and that call was picked up and lasted for 7 seconds. Jen McCabe's call was picked up by somebody who was with John, who saw an incoming call and picked it up, went like this, maybe said something real quick, and hung up the phone. Because you do not need somebody's face to pick up a call when the phone is ringing. I know that because I picked up calls on my husband's phone whenever it rings, okay? That's what I think happened. But the interesting part is right here. We know that music gets triggered on John's phone when he hangs up the phone because it happened earlier in the car. He got an incoming call, hung up, music started to play, as happens with phones because they get fucking confused when they're connected to Bluetooth. She is the incoming call. As soon as this incoming call ends at 29:44, built-in receiver Coldplay starts playing again. Coincides with the call that was picked up for 7 seconds, okay? The 12:29:44. Incoming duration, call ends 12:29:44, Fix You by Coldplay. It doesn't say built-in receiver or anything here, but it does say 7 seconds later, the duration of 7 seconds. See, call comes in at 12:29:44. It ends at 12:29:53, and Coldplay starts playing just as it did before on John's phone through the speaker.
John's phone, when he was in the car with Karen, it was playing through the Bluetooth. A phone call came in. It might have gone back to his phone for a second, and then it went back to the Bluetooth. When John gets out of the car, it stays connected to the Bluetooth.
All I know is that the phone is intermittently connecting with her car Bluetooth and then getting confused again and going back to speaker play.
The ultimate point that these fine women are going to make, and it's critical and it's a great find by them, is that the phone is looking for Karen's Bluetooth and eventually it's not able to find it. And that will evidence that Karen Reed's SUV is no longer at 34 Fairview or within the range of John's Bluetooth connection.
Okay. And if his volume was off on his phone, you wouldn't hear. What matters here to know is that when he gets incoming calls, it seems to trigger the music play starting again after the incoming call because the phone is like, oh, we're doing something again. It does say that after this point, it flips again to speaker, meaning it's either playing out loud from his phone or it's playing in the background, but he can't hear because his volume is down.
If at 12:31, Jen is texting pull behind me, does that mean that she can still see Karen's car?
I believe not. And here is why. Incoming call from Jen McCabe that lasts 7 seconds. All right. After that call, Fix You by Coldplay then triggers again by built-in receiver, because it says it right here, 29:44, built-in receiver. And then at 12:29:53, with nothing interrupting these two things, it switches back to speaker.
This could seem a little confusing, especially with that douche Dan interrupting us, talking about his stay at the hospital. However, this is very critical. If we look at the time, 12:29 and 44 seconds, we see that Coldplay starts up again, but it's looking for Karen's Bluetooth SUV receiver. It's not hitting it at this time, and we know that Karen's about to pull away or has already pulled away, and this is very critical and a great find by these women.
Which tells me, because it switched from built-in receiver to speaker, that John's phone disconnected from Karen's Bluetooth in that moment.
At 12:29.
At 12:29:53, it switched from built-in receiver to speaker, meaning playing on his phone or from the background of his phone. And do you see here, in every other instance, there is a phone call that's made that switch happen or some other reason that switch has happened. Here, it's 12:44, Fix You by Coldplay, 9 seconds, 12:29:44, and then 12:29:53 switches to speaker. I have always believed this is when Karen Reed drove away from the house.
And she arrives and connects to John's Wi-Fi at One Meadows 6 minutes later. 7 minutes later.
The connection of Karen's phone to John's Wi-Fi at One Meadows is obviously more conclusive proof of when she actually left. And using both this data and the Wi-Fi data with regard to the connection at One Meadows, it's impossible for Karen to have hit John Okeefe with her SUV, kept on traveling back, and then traveled all the way back to One Meadows in time to connect at that Wi-Fi at 12:36.
Which is a reasonable time, Every other time there has been a switch of source of that song for either from Bluetooth to speaker, speaker to Bluetooth, etc., has been because an incoming phone call happened or some activity happened on his phone. There's no activity in his phone during those 9 seconds. Jen McCabe made this call, 7 seconds, whatever. It switches to speaker because she is no longer there. Because you know what else is no longer there after this at all?
What?
Coldplay. This is the other reason why I believe this is when she drove away. Coldplay stops after 12:29:44. I believe that's when Karen drove away. And the phone then realized, okay, we're done. Can stop switching sources now because the place that I'm trying to play it to is no longer available to me. At 12:29:53, she was far enough away from his phone where it disconnected for the final time from Coldplay.
Do you see how critical it is to have many people examining data, documents, and information in order to win a legal case? Before this latest production, I had no idea that John intentionally put this song on. Did he do it to try and send some message to Karen? We definitely can use this data to establish that Karen Reed was not close to John at that particular time, and we can also use it as inspiration to keep pursuing this case until the real killer,
Brian Higgins,
is brought to justice. But no matter what, we will never, ever stop producing these videos until the real killer,
Brian Higgins,
is brought to justice.